Max Anstie, the star racing Yamaha rider, found himself at the center of controversy during the Detroit Supercross, though the reality of the situation was less about injustice and more about a case of miscommunication. While at first glance, it seemed as if Anstie had been robbed of a well-earned victory, a deeper look at the situation reveals that everything unfolded according to the official rulebook. But how did this confusion arise in the first place? The origins of the mix-up trace back to the previous round in Tampa, where multiple races were red-flagged and restarted. In an effort to keep fans informed about the procedures, Supercross promoter Feld Entertainment displayed a specific AMA Supercross rule on screen. This rule, also explained by the legendary Ricky Carmichael, stated, if the race is stopped after more than 3 laps but less than 90% of the total race length, a staggered standing restart will take place after a delay of at least 10 minutes. At face value, this seemed like a clear and logical rule. However, as it turns out, the information displayed in Tampa was outdated. That specific rule had actually been removed at the beginning of the 2024 season. The problem? Nobody realized a mistake, at least not until Detroit, when a red flag situation in the 250SX main event forced officials to apply the actual rule. This time, instead of the 90% completion threshold determining whether a race would be restarted or considered final, the revised rule stated that if the full scheduled race distance had not been reached, the race must be restarted, regardless of how far along it was. When Feld Entertainment displayed this new rule in Detroit, the entire stadium, along with the fans watching at home, was thrown into confusion. The stark contradiction between what was shown in Tampa and what was now being enforced led to an immediate outcry, with many assuming Anstie had been unfairly stripped of his win. Max Anstie himself was just as puzzled as everyone else. To be honest, I thought the rule was 90%. Then it would be over, he admitted after the race. I knew I had 2 laps left, so my plan was to play it safe. I didn't want to do anything crazy, just hold my lines, jump the doubles, and not risk anything. And then suddenly, the red flag came out. With fans and experts scrambling for clarity, the only way to settle the debate was to check the official AMA rulebook. And sure enough, the rule applied in Detroit was the correct one. Despite the incorrect information shown a week earlier, Feld had actually enforced the right decision this time. That being said, there's still room for debate over whether the rule itself makes sense. In Detroit, the entire race was effectively reset with just 7 seconds plus 1 lap remaining, which allowed the field to be artificially bunched back together. Instead of Anstie cruising to a well-deserved victory, the restart created an entirely new battle, ultimately leading to a different winner. While some argued that the added drama made the event more exciting, others questioned whether this approach was fair to the riders who had already put themselves in a winning position. Without the restart, Anstie would have simply crossed the finish jump under the red flag and taken a decisive victory. Instead, the situation turned into an unnecessary spectacle, seemingly prioritizing entertainment over sporting integrity. Anstie, however, took the situation in stride and even found humor in it. It felt a bit like the last Formula One race between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton in Abu Dhabi, complete chaos. But that's racing. So, in the end, there was no stolen victory, no grand conspiracy, just an embarrassing mix-up with the on-screen display of the rules. The next time a questionable regulation pops up, fans might want to think twice before launching their remote controls across the room.